Good evening, YouTube viewers and subscribers. So today on the bench I've got an engine that's very special to me and one I've never owned before. So let me tell just real briefly a quick story about this engine and how I came about getting it. So back in 1988, when I was getting interested in RC flying, I was in the Air Force, and the engine that I've got here that I'm going to be showing you today was the very first glow engine I'd ever seen installed in a plane and flying. Now that plane happened to be a top flight P-39 Airacobra, and it was piloted by who would become my RC pilot, or my RC flight instructor, Tech Sergeant Roberts. Wonderful guy, great flyer, and he also began to teach me how to tune engines. So just having this engine, I've never had one like this, and this is the exact same vintage engine that he had in his airplane. Just really kind of brings back memories for me. What I've got is an original 1975 Kraft, or RJL Kraft 61 engine. This is an original. Now I know that Mikoa still sells and makes the RJL 61 engine, but you know, I'm sorry, but this is the original. So this is a complete engine I bought on eBay, new in box, never seen fuel. It comes with this owner's manual, which I'm going to turn this way so I can see it. Yeah, I'll turn it this way. So I've never looked at any of this stuff before. It's pretty amazing. So it's got a nice extensive instruction booklet here. What's this? This is parts guide for all the parts for the engine, replacement parts, and prices at the time. Let's see if there's a date on this at all. I don't see any dates on this. Let's see what this is. Okay, right here, Kraft Systems Incorporated, 450 West California Avenue, July 1975. So here's another sheet where they're telling you some safety warnings about flying the airplane. Ooh, and some nice full-size line drawings too. Pretty sweet. What the heck is this? Obviously something that doesn't go in this. OS Engines radio control equipment. Okay, so that's pretty interesting. So there's an old OS manual in here too, or manual marketing brochure, which is kind of cool. And we've got, what's this? Kraft Systems warranty. And this is serial number, engine serial number 3341. So very cool piece of history here. RC engine history, and kind of history for me too. So here's the engine. Now this is not the first time I looked inside here. You know, I couldn't help myself. I did look inside here, and I did notice one thing that was odd, and it was missing the muffler screws. And that may have even been noted in the ad. I'm not entirely sure. So either way, I found some screws, and I had to cut them down to get them to fit. So here's the engine. Here's the Kraft 61 engine. Now, the thing that I think is interesting about this is that it's got a carb on it that is unlike anything I've ever seen, in that this is a high-speed needle, and this is the low-speed adjustment, and then the fuel inlet is right there. So this is what the original Kraft engine looked like. And you can see here it's a ringed engine. It's quite nice and shiny in there. Now this carb barrel is not real free. So what I'm going to do here, as long as I'm here, I'm going to drop a couple drops of 3-in-1 oil on that. Hopefully that'll start to loosen that up. So the engine turns over freely, very easily, and it looks like it's got a Fox glow plug installed. And of course here's the exhaust. So it goes like this. Here's your pressure tap, and then of course I had to cut down screws because there's so very little space here to try and angle a screw down and get it in there. But so I had to cut some screws down to make that fit, but they do go in there. And I'm really on the fence with this engine. I'm just not sure if this is going to be something I'm going to run, or if I'm just going to keep it in this condition. Now granted, I just did put a little oil in this card, but I do want it to open up or free up. I may have to actually heat it up some, because that's really stiff for some reason. But the engine itself is not. So you can see here it also has a composite glass-filled nylon or composite back cover, which I was really interested in because I didn't realize that even back in the 70s companies were doing this. Now I have no idea why they chose to do that for this engine, but they did, and it still exists like that today, I think. Let's see. See if I can read those serial number letters on there, or numbers. It does say A03341, and I believe that is what this sheet said. This sheet says 003341, but this is clearly an A03341 there. But anyway, this has been a reminiscing video for me, a step back in time to the days when I first entered the hobby and was first learning to tune an engine. As I said, I never actually owned one of these, and now I do, and it kind of brings me full circle. So it's been cool. I'm just not sure if I'm actually going to run this engine or not, but anyway, that was a quick look at an American classic, the Kraft 61.